and it has finally happened. It is officially official. Kylian Mbappe has signed with Real Madrid. They've even put out the famous Comunicado Oficial. That's how we know.
Oh, no,
Here's what he's had to say about it. A dream come true. So happy and proud to join the club of my dreams, Real Madrid. Nobody can understand how excited I am right now. Can't wait to see you, Madridistas. And thanks for your unbelievable support. A la Madrid. OK, we have Luis Garcia and Alex Kirkland in Madrid with us right now to talk more about this. So, Alex, what do we know? What's the feeling in Madrid? It's obviously been such a buoyant time right now, just days after a Champions League win, and now this.
Well, yeah, the excitement around me might not be palpable, but bear in mind it is 11:30 on a Monday night and everyone's exhausted after those Champions League celebrations yesterday. As you say, it was a very long day of celebrations here on Sunday afternoon and evening. But yeah, it's huge, and it's going to be absolutely huge. This is the biggest signing we've seen, not just at Real Madrid, but in La Liga, I think, for what, 15 years maybe, since Cristiano Ronaldo arrived in 2009. That's probably the last signing of this magnitude. It's big, and it's only going to get bigger when Mbappe is presented, when he plays his first game. And bear in mind the context, as you say, this is a Real Madrid team that have just won La Liga at a canter. They've just won the Champions League. Now they're signing arguably the best player in the world on a 5-year contract as well. So he's going to be here for a while. It's exciting times for Real Madrid fans.
Alex, when are we going to actually see him in the Real Madrid shirt? And you just mentioned that presentation from Cristiano Ronaldo. Will it be something similar that they're expecting at the Bernabeu?
That's the plan. They're expecting a full stadium, which we saw for Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, the timing of that presentation has been an issue. I think Real Madrid would have liked to get it done maybe this week, to get it done sooner rather than later. It doesn't look like that's going to be possible because, of course, Mbappe is already away with France, with the national team preparing for the Euros, and he wouldn't want to be seen to be kind of taking his eye off the ball with the national team to fly over to Madrid for a presentation and then head back. So while Madrid might have liked to do it this week, or something like Thursday, France are playing a friendly on Wednesday, we don't think it's going to be possible. It's going to be after the Euros. Remember, the European Championships finish. The final is on July the 14th. And as soon as possible after the Euros, that's when Real Madrid would like this presentation to happen. Of course, it will depend how far France go in the Euros as to when Mbappe is available. They're a strong side, one of the favourites. They might well go all the way to the final. But as soon as possible after the Euros end, so that week after the European Championships finish, we think that Mbappe will be presented here. And yes, absolutely, it'll be a full house at the Bernabeu. It'll be absolutely massive.
Julien Laurens is joining us now. He's been wiping away his tears before he came on today. Jules, how are you going to fill your time now without us asking you every single week, when is this going to happen?
It's okay. I'm going to come to Madrid and stay at Alex's house, make myself comfortable there. Just going to get a season ticket at the Bernabeu.
You're welcome, Jules.
And just,
always.
Thank you, my friend. Buy all the shirts and become a proper Real Madrid fan. That's what we do.
Wonderful stuff. But Jules, what's the reaction been then to this? It's finally done. It's a little bit hard to believe, right?
It's just because we've spoken about it for so long. I mean, not just this move now, but 2 years ago, even last summer, 3 summers ago, 4 summers ago, since pretty much I've started being on ESPN and Kylian has been making his breakthrough into professional football and being that good, we've been talking about him. So to finally see it happening, and even, I really believe someone from his camp was saying today, like, even he knows it's obviously happening, but even he was so excited and just, it's finally there. That dream that he's had since he was a kid, because yeah, PSG, of course, is his hometown, but Real Madrid is different. This is the team that really loved when he was a kid, because of Zidane, because of Cristiano, because of the Bernabeu, because of the history of this club, and because it's the greatest club in the world, really, and the biggest club in the world. So now, finally, it's official. It's there. I think even 2 years ago, when he had that U-turn and Real Madrid felt a bit betrayed, and rightly so, I think he knew that it would happen eventually at some point anyway. So now he's there, it's real. He will focus on France. Like Alex said, on the Euros, it's very important for him. He's the captain as well. This is his first competition as a national team captain, so it's very, very important. But the last few days, the last few hours, you could tell how excited he was and how happy he was with all the things with Real Madrid happening.
Luis, the champions of Europe just got even stronger.
what you're saying, that we should be worried, the ones that we don't follow that much Real Madrid for next year? Yes, I think everybody should be with big concerns, because the team that normally wins for fun, they just done it in La Liga, they just done it in Champions League, showing their mentality, their strength in the way they play, and they manage the situation of the game. Next year they're gonna be even stronger. It's true. And it's a concern. I'm sure that Real Madrid is looking for someone else in the middle of the park, because Cruz just mentioned he was retiring. So a very important piece is missing in that center of the park. But I'm sure that Ancelotti will find a way of bringing another player and perform in the better way, as we've seen during the whole season. Even with the injuries, even with all the problems, now they look stronger, because if something is going to show Mbappe is a way he can break any kind of defense. He's a player that in the best moments is unstoppable. He can beat any single player on speed, on ability. He's so skillful. So he needs to adapt quickly to what it is and what it means to play for Real Madrid, what it means, that jersey. But I'm sure that he's going to do it quick. Everyone is expecting him to deliver straight away. And for Real Madrid, it's all about good news, and as soon as possible, bring Mbappe to start playing for Real Madrid.
What's Carlo Ancelotti's message to him? Because this is a superstar player walking into a very tight team, and a team that are already champions, double champions this season.
I think the only message that Ancelotti has to make clear to Mbappe is that he's walking into a team. And the success that we've had, yes, we have individuals who can win games for us, but the reason we have won not only the Champions League but our domestic league is because we are a team, we are a unit. We're not about individuals, we're about us together. That's the only thing. Because as far as the game's concerned, the guy's frightening. On his day, I don't care who you are, you can't stop him. So it's nothing to do with football, it's to do with what goes on between his ears. And if he can turn this guy into a huge, big-time team player, then there'll be no stopping Real Madrid.
Because by all accounts, Shaka, the guys at Real Madrid already, obviously they're not going to say any different, but they do seem to be very excited about welcoming Kylian Mbappe.
And who wouldn't be? Kylian Mbappe is arguably the best player in world football, joining arguably the best team in world football. And who wouldn't welcome that? And the biggest club in world football. And I say that because I felt, and while you understand Kylian's thinking of 2 years ago with the U-turn that Jules just mentioned, wanted to stay in Paris, he's a Paris boy, I just felt that this was the club that Kylian needed. And while France moved heaven and earth, and I say France moved heaven and earth to keep Kylian Mbappe in French football, with good reason, I feel that he needed to move on from that. And now, despite what it may be costing Real Madrid, certainly in terms of wages and in terms of how much more he's making than everybody else, the club remains the most important thing at Real Madrid. Great players, Galacticos come and go, but Real Madrid somehow manages to maintain this mystique, this aura about them, that I think will do Kylian Mbappe the absolute world of good. And all the players are coming out and saying all the right things about his joining for footballing reasons, because they understand what the club means, they understand what it will mean to a player like Kylian Mbappe and what a player like Kylian Mbappe means to that team. I think it's perfect, if not a little overdue.
So, Jules, how do they line up? We've put you to task here to give us a starting 11 with Kylian Mbappe in it at Real Madrid.
Yeah, and we will start with the simplest one in a way, which is to keep the same formation, the 4-4-2 with the diamond midfield that they've used for most of this season, with Bellingham at the top of the diamond as a number 10. And the two forwards this season have been Vinicius and Rodrigo. You take out Rodrigo, I know it's sad for him, and you put Kylian in there. The rest stay the same. You've got your three midfielders behind Bellingham, Vinicius and Kylian, in Valverde, Camavinga and Tchouaméni, for example, and then your back four and Courtois in goal. This is probably the easiest way for Carlo to just bring in Mbappe, not changing too much. Okay, it's harsh for Rodrigo because he's had a good season, but that's the way things happen in football. The other one that you could think of is, maybe a more attacking formation, let's say. Let's move to a 4-3-3, for example, where you have a front three of Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Mbappe in the middle. Then you drop a little bit deeper for Bellingham, who can play in a free role if you want, starting in the midfield three, on the left, for example, with Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga, Valverde, whatever the options, but three of the four midfielders will start. And then that makes, you can also play Rodrigo with Vinicius and Mbappe, for example, or Brahim on the right, or Arda Güler, whoever you want to play. That gives you maybe a more attacking lineup that you can play maybe against weaker side in La Liga or in the Champions League. But I feel like the 4-4-2 with the diamond midfield feels the easiest way for Carlo Ancelotti to just bring Kylian in without changing too much and everybody will settle in.
Which is the scarier lineup, do you think, Luis?
The scary, of course, is the second one when you got all the firepower up front. But I'm not going to be defending there. I mean, I'm sure that the concerns are who's going to be defending. So, I mean, Valverde, of course, they are fantastic players, or even Camavinga. They can do the work in the middle of the park, but you need a little bit of balance. And if you're going to use Bellingham plus three strikers, even though the Rodrigo does a little bit of work for Real Madrid, it's just too aggressive. I agree with Jules that in some games you can use that when you know that you're going to be dominant, that the team is going to sit at the back, but definitely it's a really attacking team. And we've seen this season Real Madrid where many of the games has been sitting back with a low block when they play against teams that they can have a good transition. I don't see that happening very often. So I will go for the first one where the balance is a little bit more with a lot of players into the midfield that can give you that extra work. Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde, three young players hungry to be important for Real Madrid, and then you can give the freedom up front. It's true that Rodrigo, it's been a lot of rumors. He mentioned just a few days ago that Manchester City was the best team, and maybe start the links and the rumors. So we'll see what happens during the summer. It's a long summer still. So I'm sure that we're going to have more news, and Real Madrid is going to be looking for, of course, get even stronger in the midfield.
You know, I don't think we should underestimate how important it is for Madrid and Mbappe that it's Ancelotti that's in charge. Because it's one thing to look at teams on paper. Did they play a three when Mbappe through the middle? Did they play with two? The fact is that both Vinny and Mbappe are still talking about how they prefer to come from a wide position. And so the fact that Ancelotti is still there, I think is huge. I mean, is there anybody else that would be able to persuade Mbappe or Vinny Jr. that they can play more central? I think the only one that's capable of doing it is Ancelotti. So Real Madrid are lucky that Ancelotti's still there.
How well Ancelotti has dealt with Rodrigo throughout the seasons when there've been a few little run-ins there. What happens now with Rodrigo? Are there enough minutes to go around for him to feel satisfied to stay at Real Madrid?
Yeah, Ancelotti is the master at all this, isn't he? As we've said, he's the coach. You want to be in charge of a situation like this. I think Rodrigo is a situation that at some point will come to a head. If not this summer, then next summer. Maybe he'll wait another season, see how it goes with Mbappe there, see how many minutes he gets, and then make a decision. As Luis mentioned there, he made some comments which he claimed were misinterpreted ahead of the Champions League final, talking about, seeming to suggest that maybe his time at Madrid was coming to an end. He's since come out and said that wasn't the case, and he's very happy here. He's always wanted to be here. He's a player who is a hugely talented player, no one doubts that. Hasn't always had the consistency that you need, hasn't scored enough goals really consistently that you need to be a first choice forward for Real Madrid. And of course, he is the player who is most threatened by the arrival of Mbappe. So I think there's a potential issue there further down the line. But I think we're looking at that potentially for next summer rather than this summer. I think Rodrigo will be willing to give it a chance this year, see how many minutes he gets, see if he is in the team more often than not in the big games, if Ancelotti goes for a front three or a front two, and then look at it, like I say, a bit further down the line in a year's time.
Would you do that, Luis? Stay for the season and see how it plays out for you if you were Rodrigo?
No, I wouldn't. I think that Rodrigo already proven that he's a fantastic player. He deserves to be in the 11 starters, and I'm not sure that he's going to be willing to, because he's been through that. He's been through, okay, you are not the consistent player that we needed. We remember at the beginning of the season where he had those arguments with Ancelotti, and then he started becoming more solid. Vinicius Jr. got injured, and he was the main man. He started performing, playing a little bit more on the left, and showed that he's that player, the player that Real Madrid needed, assisting, being a threat every single time, and scoring goals. So I'm sure that right now he feels that he can be important up front. But in the moment that Ancelotti started the preseason and showing that they're going to play with two up front, not with three, and that he's going to be more starting from the bench. I'm not sure if Rodrigo is going to be willing to stay at Real Madrid, because probably this season is the one he's going to have more options to go somewhere else, to a top team where he can be the leader of the front, and to have options to play every single weekend and maybe a challenge for all competitions. So I don't think that Rodrigo is going to be ready to sit on the bench once again.
Would that be a concern, Shaka, team harmony? Disrupting it?
Listen, I understand what Luis is saying, but if I'm looking at this from a Rodrigo perspective, through his lens, and kind of given how this season started, only speculation around his future and how it panned out, it's a hard decision to make now, your league and Champions League winners, to say that I'm going to walk away. And listen, I know Cristiano Ronaldo did exactly that, but Rodrigo's 23 years old. And as much as he enjoyed this season, despite what the speculation is about whether he starts or not, or whether Ancelotti goes with a front two or front, whatever it may be, he has still got so much career ahead of him to figure that part out. And as of right now, he's enjoyed the most successful period of his career. I totally understand him saying, you know what, I'm going to wait and see how Ancelotti plays this out. Because nobody knew what to expect 12 months ago when Benzema left and Rodrigo steps up and plays as significant a role as he has. So you understand that, okay, maybe he doesn't get the minutes that he wants. Next summer, he's 24. And then you start to think about or talk about a move. It's not as though the clock is against him.
I think you're coming from a very sensible, experienced, looking from the outside in type of guy. Because I'm 100% with Luis here. Once you've done all the travelling and sitting on the bench and sitting on the bus and not playing, and you go through all that, regardless of how old you are, and then you play 49 games last year, you play 51 this year, I think, yes, you keep your mouth shut until 10 games in, and then you figure out what's going on. And if he's not playing, I'm with Luis. You want to get off. And I can't argue what you're talking about. He's only 23. He's still got a whole career ahead of him. But he ain't thinking that. He's thinking, hold on a minute, I've paid my dues. I've sat on my backside. I've played 51 games. We won the league. We won the Champions League. And yet, I'm the one I'm sat on my backside again. Now, I'm with Luis. I think he waits, sees what happens. First 10 games, see where he lands. He'll figure out where he is after 10 games of next season. And if he's on the outs, I think I'm Luis. I think he looks to go in the next window.
When we do go back to Mbappe, though, Jules, this obviously he's used to being in the spotlight. He's used to pressure, but this is going to be a pressure that even he hasn't known, especially if Real Madrid do go through some tough times, because surely the lens will really be on him, saying, oh, well, now they've got Mbappe. Are they better off? Are they worse off? There will be that, won't there?
Yes, but trust me, he's prepared himself for so many years to be in this position now. Again, even outside the fact that this was his dream and that the dream has come true now, he's been prepared himself. He's been learning Spanish before to be able to speak in Spanish today. And Alex was mentioning, wherever that is, that he will be presented at the Bernabeu, first to the press, and then obviously then to a full stadium, doing those key PRPs that we see the players doing that, and maybe taking the microphone and saying a few words. This is the only reason why he learned Spanish is for that day, not to, not to read a novel in Spanish or to watch a movie in Spanish or listening to Spanish music. Maybe one day, but it was all for that. So he's been preparing himself all those years for this moment. Right now, he's found a house already, which is Gareth Bale's former house. He will live in La Finca, one of the best area of Madrid, next to a lot of his teammates. So he's there. It won't take him time to adapt, and he's ready for the pressure. And he knows this is the biggest club in the world. He knows the pressure will come from the newspapers, from the media, 24/7. But again, he's been there for such a young age that that doesn't faze him. I mean, not much fazes him anyway, but that's not going to faze him. He's going to be far more excited than apprehensive, really, arriving in Madrid after the Euros. And again, he's been waiting for this moment for so long that I just don't think that will be an issue. He knows the expectations are there, and obviously he's the best player in the world. So if he doesn't get to 30, 40, 50 goals, I don't know how many he's going to score, yeah, he knows that people are going to moan maybe, but that's not going to stop him. I think he will be a success. He's far too smart for that, and the team is far too good for him not to succeed there.
Who's going to be loved more? First game of the season, Alex, Vinicius or Mbappe? Who's the excitement going to be on in that first game of the season?
It's a good question, and it's a nice dilemma to have, and it's a nice choice to have as a fan, isn't it? Am I cheering more for Mbappe or for Vinicius or for Jude Bellingham? And that's the thing. That's the frightening thing. You look at this team. You're talking about Ballon d'Or candidates, talking about what it must be in the top 5 most valuable players in the world. Mbappe, Vinicius, Bellingham. You've got 3 of them in this one team. You've got 3 superstars who would be the absolute undisputed main man at any other club, all in the same side. We've seen it here this season. The first half of the season, all the talk was Jude Bellingham, Ballon d'Or. The second half of the season, it was Vinicius Junior, Ballon d'Or, with a bit of Toni Kroos thrown in for good measure as well. Now add Mbappe to the mix. It's quite incredible. Of course, Vinny, I mean, he really is the fan favourite now here. They absolutely love him with what he has become the main man for the club in the last year or so. But there's also sort of the thrill and the excitement of the new, isn't there? The sort of the shiny new thing, and Mbappe is going to be that shiny new thing. So, but why choose? Why not simply go for root for both and be equally excited about both and about Bellingham as well?
Alex, we're going to let you get back to your mansion in La Finca and get Jules' room ready. And we'll let you get some
I
rest.
wish.
Thank you.
Jules, what does it mean for PSG now then? Is there a weird way that you can look at it as a positive, where they're not wondering now where he's going and those wages that were spent on Mbappe can be distributed and bring new players in?
Yeah, you're right. It's a way of looking at it. I still think that any team in the world losing the best player in the world will be damaging, of course. I think it's damaging for the status of the club. It will be damaging because you need to replace him now, and you know you can't go and sign a player that can just come in, take his place, score all the goals that he scored, be the leader that he was, etc., etc. So you'll have to think about it in a different way, and Luis Enrique and Luis Campos are working already on this. You will be able to strengthen your squads, and maybe, and I think that's the hope at the club right now, to make this even more of a team, because there won't be any superstars of Kylian Mbappe's status, really. Next season, it will be players that Luis Enrique will try to mold into this strong unit, a very strong collective, to try to be able to win and go far in the Champions League, for example. And I can see it, of course, you can. You know, if you go and get someone like Kvaratskhelia, for example, you can make this a really good team. But the X factor really was Mbappe for the last 2-3 years, really, since Neymar, even when Messi and Neymar were there. And now you've lost that X factor. So you will need to find an X factor somewhere else. It might be the team, again, as a collective. But I still think it's very hard to replace him. So we will have to see what they do in the summer. It's a very important summer for them. Yes, they saved a lot of money by him going, of course, around the 80 to 100 million euros, which is a lot of money, of course. But you've still lost the best player in the world.
There's obviously huge expectations every single season, Luis, on Real Madrid. They're expected to win everything, but it feels as though that's gone up a level now that Kylian Mbappe is going to be there.
Exactly. It is true that for Real Madrid, it doesn't make a lot of difference, but from now on, they are going to feel the pressure of you need to do it once again. They were mentioning that after winning and lifting the 15, Florentino was already talking about winning the 16, and the pressure was on Ancelotti for next year trying to bring the 16, but it's the way it is. That's how Real Madrid history has been working on. The moment that you don't win a trophy is a failure of a season, and you need to put everything on the stake for the next one to try to win it. After winning La Liga and Champions League next year, there is no the difference, and the pressure is going to be there much more for the player is going to arrive, because they are not only going to expect that you deliver trophies, but also good football. They are always expecting that you score, that you will be the top scorer, that you will be the player who beats players on 1v1 situation every single time. So there is a lot of expectation when Kylian Mbappe arrives, but I'm sure that he's going to cope with everything, because he's been waiting for this moment for such a long time.
Do they defend the double next season?
I think that they're gonna be there. Of course, a team doesn't make a difference with just one player. I think it's about the team. Like, arriving Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid doesn't mean that the next year they're gonna win everything. Of course, they're gonna be stronger, but I'm gonna say it again. They're gonna miss a very important player in the middle of the park. Kroos makes a big difference on the build-up of the way. If we try to think about some important moments where Cruz is being giving those balls to Vinicius Junior, to Rodrigo, to Joselu, to Bellingham. He's like the engine who helps everyone to play better, and he's not going to be there. And I'm not saying that Tchouaméni, the Valverde, the Camavinga are not going to deliver things. But they are not Toni Kroos. They are not. They don't have the quality and the experience of these players. So I'm sure that they need to work on that. So bringing Mbappe, yes, it's gonna strengthen your front three or your front two. But definitely, it's not gonna make you win trophy straight away. You're gonna need to continue doing a lot of things good if you wanna win it.
Jules, another double next season for Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they will be ultra favourite for La Liga, of course, and even for the Champions League. And when you look at this season, when they lost only 2 games all season, one in the League against Atletico Madrid, one in the Copa del Rey against Atletico Madrid, and they were without Courtois, without Militao, without Alaba for most of the season, and obviously without Kylian. Yes, Kroos is leaving and Luis is right. It's a massive loss, and I'm not sure how, again, they will replace him, who's going to play where, if they go and sign somebody else, if you give a bit more time to look at Modric next season, even at his age. But this team is just going to get so much better, so much stronger now with the return of all the injuries, plus Kylian, plus whoever comes in might come in midfield for Kroos. You could see them winning everything, of course. You can see them being very difficult to beat, of course. And anything is possible in football, but over the length of a season, that consistency with a squad like that, and we haven't even mentioned Brahim Diaz and Arda Güler and Endrick coming from Brazil as well. You just imagine the depth in the squad that they have in every position. It's quite scary when you think about it already. So I just say good luck to whoever faces them next season in the league, in the cup, in the Club World Cup, and in the Champions League, because it's going to be a tough task.